Hey everybody, I'm down here, right down here, down in the corner. Yeah, that's me. This is all about stuff we're going to do over here, so I figured I'd just start up down here. This is the third part of the Papermancy basic kit, and that is called the BookCharm. Now, you may think, well, I've heard of bookmarks. Is that the same thing? Well, that's why I call it a BookCharm, is because it's not just the same thing. The original treasure chest project did say that this could be used as a bookmark, and since I modified the measurements on that one to be friendly to zine sized things, I also felt like I could do more with the actual bookmark. And in keeping with this whole idea of trying to make this whole paper-based cognition and paper-based thinking more magical, I thought, well, we have a grimoire, we have a codex, we have a fragmentarium, but all those are kind of big fancy words. What's a cool word for bookmark but might still have some of that little magic? So I call it a book charm. It's a little charm. It's just something to help you out. Now, at its base, a bookmark just holds your place. If I'm reading this old edition of Make magazine and I get to the section about the Teleclaw remote robot gripper, I can just take my bookmark and put it in. Okay, and yeah, then next time I come to the book, it holds the space. It kind of puts my brain and my thinking on pause just long enough to kind of go into here. But what if instead, and as you'll see on this one, I took the bookmark and I put some of my favorite paper on top of it to glue it on. Well, in that case, while I am reading about the Teleclaw remote gripper, perhaps I could jot down notes. I could spend some time doing it. Now, you'll notice this is actually not for this article. This is from the book The Extended Mind by Annie Murphy Paul. And this has been a part of the research that I've been doing to go along with this whole project. But the point is that this has little sketch notes on here. So instead of this just being a bookmark that gets thrown away, this becomes its own artifact of my experience and my thoughts reading this book. It becomes sort of the cliff notes. And by having it on this simple little book charm, all I did was glue paper right onto it. I have that ability to do that. And when I'm done with the book, I can take this and I can file it somewhere. I can keep it and just make another one. It's pretty easy. And you don't even have to get all fancy with the glue and stuff like that as well. I have a whole stack, pull it out here, of just plain paper bookmarks. You can get these at Michael's from those things. And I will just scribble down on this thing somewhere around here. Of course, I don't have it ready because I never have things ready when I'm doing my whole things here. Somewhere I have, yes, actually here it is. It is kind of ready. I took it and I started using it to make a log of some of the media that I was really looking at. In fact, I could even update this because I have finished Project Hail Mary. I have finished that one, and I am still working on Make Your Art No Matter What. I finished Alphabetica, and I finished A War of Crimson Ash. So now I've got a list of media of books that I did. I also finished the Book of Alchemy, which is amazing. Holy cow. All these are actually really good. So now I've got a little media thing. And, basically for any list. So you don't have to use an entire book charm. But in this case, I did enjoy making this specifically for use with the book The Extended Mind. And it did help me take notes for it. Okay, so that's the first one. The title of this video is BookCharms 3 Ways. So the first way is simply paste some paper onto your book charm and do that. Oh, a note-taking device. To be frank, it's a marginalia. If you look up the history of marginalia, people used to, when they got books, they owned them. And so they would write things in the margin and stuff. You can find amazing examples of the thinking and the understanding of some of the great thinkers, or even just complete strangers, by looking at the marginalia in the books. If you own a book and you like it and you read it, I highly suggest that you write that in there. But if you don't own a book, if you have it from the library, which of course you should support your local library, then I would actually recommend that you get one of these so you can make your own Marginalia. I don't know why I keep showing it to the upright camera when I can just show it right here. I mean, that right there is a sketch note right for that book. Okay, so part 1 was just the notes. All right, part 2 is a very common thing you've probably seen. It is a altered paperclip. Now, when we say altered paperclip, how do we alter it? Well, we don't really alter it. We just kind of cover it and we change it around. So first I have to, again, I was not prepared, did not get the right materials. In fact, we will pause and be back right after this message. Hey, we're back. And this time, you notice the camera's a little different. And also, we have some new things. Basically, I have giant paper clips. This is an example of an altered clip. Actually, this is a piece of leather with a nice little bit of stitching around it and a little slot. And they just stuck one of those in there. This came with a Midori-style notebook that I had a while back. And you know, I can still clip things to it. So this is kind of the idea of what we're doing, but we're using the piece of paper that we got from the BookCharm for that. This is a different project. I don't know why that's sitting there. Okay, now the way to make an altered paperclip is really simple. Okay, so first of all, you're going to have the part that you want on the outside. We want this nice pattern on the outside. On the inside here, there's really nothing there. So I'm not going to bother trying to put something there. So for this part, I'm going to fold it in half with the part that I want showing on the inside of the fold. Okay? Now, it's on the inside of the fold. Now, be very careful. This is the complicated part of the assembly here. You take a paper clip. Is it a special paper clip? It's a special paper clip because it's the one that I'm using to show you this. Is it special in any other way? No. They are just office mate OIC giant paper clips. Trombones géants, if you are in France. All right, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it down now. I'm looking at this and realizing this is actually not going to work. This is too big of a paper clip because the paper clip can only go down as far as this paper being able to come up and cover it up. Okay. Oh wait, but look at that. If you look, if I keep the paper clip there, then I can cover it up. It does go over the end. So the only thing is that would only leave a little bit of edge there. So if you don't want to clip very thick, very thick on there, you want to have a lot showing outside, you can do that. And there's a reason to do that too. I'm going to show, making some other things later on that are like that. But let's go ahead and let's find a smaller paper clip. Go over and look around in our various paper clippy places. The thing is, I know that downstairs I have an entire giant thing of paper clips. It's just up here that I don't seem to have any handy. Oh wait, guess what? I found one in the Doom box. Okay, so smaller paper clip. I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it right in the center there. Okay. Now, I take this part and I fold it up. Okay, and I want to make sure that it's very, very even with the other side. And I take this one and fold it up as well. Now, I'm folding them up, okay, just to make sure that it's exactly how I want it to work. And it is. Now I unfold, and I'm going to take and I'm going to put glue all over this part, and I'm going to put glue all over this part, and then I'm going to squeeze it together. So, yeah, you could use fancy glue if you want. I'm using stick glue because it's what I had handy. And this video is long overdue, and I feel like I should get this done. So glue out to the edges, And then, by the way, if you are looking to learn more about your gluing technique, this is not yet the place to find that out. My gluing technique is at best sloppy. Now, if you're worried about putting the, fixing the paperclip in, don't worry about it. It's actually going to stay in by itself because it's going to be surrounded by the other papers that are there. So, I did the thing where you get glue on your paper and on the surface. Look at that. Bad Papermancer. No biscuit. Somewhere I have a rag specifically for this purpose. And there it is. Okay. Cleaning up your workspace right after doing it. Good Papermaster. One biscuit. Alright. Of course, I already had a donut, so probably no biscuits. Alright, so what this has is now, it has this area here is the area that unfolds and clips onto something like a book. Now I like to actually take these and I like to round the edges a little bit. See? I think that just kind of makes it a little nicer. And in this case, since I wasn't exactly right on the edges there, I am also going to use my little geometers tool and cut. Remember, let the knife do the work, don't do the work for the knife. Cut so that the edges are a little more secure. There we go. Now this is a little wet right now, so I might want to, take some time to let it dry. But I also could decide that I want to decorate it some more. How would you decorate it, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. One way that I could decorate it, which is an idea I've been playing around with, is to take some acrylic markers. Shout out to, there we go, some nice acrylic markers. And I kind of want to say, I don't know, what's a good saying to say? Woo the use of the odd, which is a quote from, I can't remember the name, but I remember when I ran across it, I was like, oh, this is cool. Woo the muse of the odd. Okay. Or I could do something. I have been experimenting with various forms of carving pink stamps, and so I have this silver stamp pad here. So on the other side, and I don't know how it's going to work with that hanging there, so we'll see what happens. It'll either work really well or it won't work at all. And I push it down. So I did the perfect thing of putting This Will Fix Everything upside down. Beautiful. Obviously, what you do when you do a problem with the stamping is you re-stamp it, because that always works perfectly. It doesn't blur things or make two of them at all. Oh, actually, it worked out pretty well. Still upside down, but this will fix everything. Actually, it's okay it's upside down, because now that I have this little clip, when I am reading a book, I could use it. If you notice, I can take it and put it over there. And now I've got that mark there. I could also use it to add in other things if I wanted to. I can use it to hold things. Okay? And it doesn't have to be on the top. It could be on the side, where This Will Fix Everything looks very nice. or on the bottom or whatever. But this is the second way you can use a book charm. Make it into a clip that not only holds your place in the book, but can also hold other things in the book for you as well. Okay? So, we have the marginalator. Yeah, that's what's called, a marginalator. We have a altered clip. What's the last thing you can do? Well, I'm going to slip into, I won't say the last thing. What's the third thing that I think it can be used for? Because let's face it, there are so many things. The only limit is your imagination. And your bank account, and the amount of time you have, and what energy you have, and other obligations, and what other people might think of you, and how much that matters to you. But other than that, no limits. So, let's get some of this stuff out of the way. Good Papermancer cleans up their workspace as they go. Sure. Okay, last one. Now, this actually falls into a productivity tool that I made for myself. I actually can show one of them. It was a design for what I call taskets. Okay? So for a tasket, you know that old saying about how, you pick out 3 things that you have to do that day, and then those are the things you absolutely have to get done. So I have 1, I had a sticky note on there saying arm and leg PT. 2 was I needed to write something. By the way, when I say 2, you see that little 2 thing. And 3, do my agenda for my one-to-one with my boss. Okay. So I would take these, I had a little stand, and I'd stick them up there, and then when I would get done with one, I would take it out, I would turn it around, and yeah, there's a little cutout there, and I got that little dopamine rush of a check mark. And I got a tactile one. I didn't just push a button. 2, if I was better at doing electronics, I was going to have a 3-piece stand, and when you took it and you flipped it out, a literal actual bell would ring right next to it. That's the kind of thing I would love to do. So this is the physical version of the taskets, and this is actually just one of the iterations. This one I 3D printed. I think I might have even put it up on Tinkercad or Makerspace. And then I have others that are made out of wood. But I realized that the BookCharm also can lend itself to this. So here's how it works. First of all, you get your BookCharm, and you get yourself one of the small sticky notes. I mean, you could do this with the big sticky notes, but I think that would be a little bit much. And also, you're going to want to at least start out with this. You may want to cover the back of the paper as well, which we will think about in a moment. So you lay out the sticky notes the way that they might end up being when they are done that way, when they're going to be using them. And you mark the top and the bottom with just a light pencil so you can see the marks, but it's not actually going, maybe I'll even do all 4 sides. So I'm just doing the graphite of this lead will shine and show me basically the boundaries of where I'm going to be doing a cut. You see those thing there? So now that I've bracketed the target, as they say. Who's they? Well, the Marines, but that's what I was in. So, I realize this is too late and too much too late, but I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit. I say I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Except, of course, that I don't seem to have the right camera on here. There we go. Yep. Where's my camera window? Pardon me, we are experiencing technical difficulties. I actually want to go into Ecamm. I want to show my camera switcher window, yes, and I want to show my source camera effects window. Video source, eMeet Pico, that's what I'm using. And I thought there was a digital zoom on there. But apparently, there it is. Look at that. I found it. All right. Now that we've got that a little better. I know I could have done that the whole way through, but you know what? I like actually being authentic and showing how the sausage is made. Okay. So, there's our BookCharm. Oh, I should also say, this will fix everything stamp. Obviously, that's not terribly pretty, but the idea itself came from my friend Carl, who was one of the early supporters of Papermancy, and I got to give credit where credit is due. All right, so we were making a tasket, as this is what I call it, T-A-S-K-E-T. I'll even write it on there, T-A-S-K-E-T. Yes, a tisket, a tasket. I think of it as a combination of ticket and also its task. All right, but why am I having this here? Because I'm going to use this first one, and I'm going to make a stencil. And the stencil is going to be of a check mark. Now, those of you who do stamps may notice that I've already done something wrong here. What have I done wrong? What I have done wrong is that I have made it look as if I'm looking at it. When I want to have this transferred to another piece, if I was going to turn this over and transfer it, then that would be a problem. Okay, this is also a very boring check mark, but you know, this is just a demonstration, so that's okay. All right, so now that I have the check mark there, in this case I'm going to use this as an actual stencil, so I'm going to go ahead and just cut and cut and cut and cut. To me, you can make 3 different sized check marks if you want. This one, I'm like, well, this isn't the most even check mark ever designed, but most likely if I use it, they will at least all look the same. They'll be consistent. So now I take this one, I look for where those marks are. See those little marks that I made? 4 marks, and I put this right in between those 4 marks. There we go. And now I could do one of 2 things. I could just cut, or I could trace it with the pencil and then cut that out. I'm going to actually trace with the pencil because I don't trust myself not to cut through my stencil. So there's the first check mark. Can I see it? Yes, I can. All right. I'll do the same thing on the others. Again, you can get as sloppy or as much as you want. The main thing I like about this is that because sticky notes are usually very bright, you already have sort of a attention-getting dopamine check mark right there that you can see what you did. And you know, you can keep on adding on things after as well. The only thing I don't like about this is that it means that you have to keep on buying sticky notes, which, you know, isn't necessarily the best use of resources, but we do what we can with what we have. All right. So now I have 3 check marks right there. And now I will try not to kill myself with my finger knife. Now in this case, since this is more thick cardboard, this is going to take a little more time to cut. And the main thing to remember, I can't remember who it was that taught me this. I think it might have been Ito Agassi on his YouTube thing. But it's the idea that you let the blade do the work. You don't try and force it through each time. So I'm going to do that. And there is another side bonus to doing this kind of a book charm. Did I do the top part? I don't think I did. Can you guess what that bonus is? The bonus is I now have a little check mark to use on some of my other stuff that I'm making. Now you can see this isn't the most clean edge here, and there's two ways to fix that. First of all, like that little piece right there, I'm going to go ahead and cut that out to clean that up. But the other way to make that look a little more consistent is to grab your distress inks. And I know I'm using green on top of black here, which is not the most smart thing, but take that, I'm just going to bend that out there and give it a little bit of a burnishing. It'll be easier on this side too. Okay, now the back here, it's up to you whether you really feel like you can cover it, you could paint it, you could put stickers on the back, whatever you want to do. But it's up to you how much you want to decorate it. In this case, for the purpose of this video, I am going to cover the back, but I'll do it in a little bit here. So let's finish cutting this. I will probably speed up the video on this part because it's not as interesting. Okay, so now I have all three of my things checked off there. And again, like I said, I like to round the edges of things, so I'm going to go ahead and round that edge, and round that edge, and round that edge, and around that edge. Now, again, you don't have to do this. You could use thicker paper, whatever. But this is actually a little bit flimsy for what I want to use it for. So I'm going to take the time to find something to put on the back. So I'm going to go into some of my source paper that I've been using for things. Let's see. I could just use some text, I guess, but that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool too. I keep looking. Monkeys? Do I want monkeys? I don't think I want monkeys. All my monkeys. Do I want wine? Do I want flowers? No. Ooh. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. I think I like especially this part right here. So, first I'm going to take this. I'm going to put it over the part that I think I want to use. And I'm just going to draw around it. Actually, let's make it easy on myself and go to the bottom of the paper. Okay, so draw around it. Great. Grab my self-healing mat, put it inside there. Grab my knife, which is hiding somewhere. The best place to have a knife is where you can't see it. By the way, if you're wondering which things I say that are serious and which things I say that are not, that one was not. Oh yes, and if I want to do a straight line, I also want to have, looks like that one has a little bit too much edge on it, so I'm going to go into my writer's box and realize that I put my other square in a place that it's hard to get to. Okay, note to self, find better place for my geometer square. Alright, now we're going to do this again. Make sure that's all set up. And by the way, you'll notice, for those of you that are interested in measurements, 15 centimeters. right, and now I go across the top. You'll notice I'm not trying to do those rounded corners that I traced because I have a tool for rounding corners. All right, and now this side. This is actually harder than it looks. Because I have to hold this and hold the geometer square. Did I do it? Survey says... Ding! All right. Put the knife away again. Put that to the side. Don't need that anymore. I want to give a shout out to AJ for giving me a bunch of these magazines. Now's when I'm going to do this. Now, you may realize there's a couple of slight issues. How do I transfer these checks onto here? The answer is you don't. Okay, I'm actually just going to go ahead and glue this on. Wow, look how nice that matches up. I'm going to add, when I'm done with this whole project, I'm going to take this and put it inside of a book because the glue, this particular glue, will probably end up, the moisture will end up warping this a little bit, so I want to let it dry inside of a pressed environment. But grab the glue. Let's see, I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to grab a scrap piece of paper and then glue on that. Look at me doing best practices for gluing. All right. So I could also do this in the area that my camera is showing. All right. And go all the way off the edges. All right. There we go. Scrap paper goes back. And now I can take this and I can carefully match up the edges and put it on down. Alright, so now I've got a slightly thicker, also look at that, isn't that awesome? That's a great picture. That's a perfect back to that, I like that a lot. And yeah, I can do a little bit of trimming here on the ends. Just right in there. Right, little tiny things. I can also go ahead and use some more of the, darkening on the edges here. Boy, that's not really showing up very well, is it? There we go. Just a tiny bit of darkening, just to make it look a little bit more. But I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wait a minute, Gray. The whole point of the prototypes is that when you're done and you flip it over, you have a check mark. So first of all, if you flip this over, you can't see what's on the front, and on the back here, you can't see through anything. Well, after thinking about several ways that you could have transferred that thing on there, the easiest way to do it is to have this here and then just cut it out. Just like that. Now the advantage to using something like this as opposed to, say, a task manager is several. The biggest one to me is that when you're using this, it will not try and level you up, tell you need to back up, ask you to rate this app. That's honestly my big pet peeve. I'm also, as you may have noticed, trying to do that edge is not very easy, but I can take a marker and just kind of do a little bit of paint on the inside of this thing, just to kind of make it a little more subtle and intentional. Okay, and now there's that. Now, let's go ahead and we will speed it up while you do the other two, just like we did before. All right, now we've got 3 of these done. All right, you may think to yourself, well, hey, great, why didn't you just tape them together and then do the tasket thing? The answer is, first of all, because I wanted to show that you didn't have to do the paper on the back. I just chose to do that because I wanted to have something over the white space. So I've got this now. So how do you use it? Well, I grab paper and I say, okay, hey, I'm going to, what do I need to do today? I need to edit and post BookCharm video. That's one thing I have to do. What else do I have to do? I have to do my evening PT. Physical therapy, such fun. And what's the third thing I have to do? Oh, I don't know. Let's see. I have to clean up BookCharm shoot. Okay. It's a Sunday. I have not much to do right now, so I feel like I don't have to worry about that much. So here's my top 3 things that I have to do in the rest of the day. Okay. Now, let's say that they're spread out over the day. The evening PT obviously is. Well, I usually have some kind of notebook that I carry with me all the time. Okay, and that could look like any number of things. Let's pretend it looks like this, because sometimes it does. All right, so this becomes my bookmark in that book. And when I open up to use the book, oh my gosh, there it is. Or if I'm like, I'm at a break. What should I do? Hey, you know what? I should check on my things. What have I done? Now let's say that I have finished posting the video. Okay? If I just flip it over, well, now I can't see the other ones. So instead, plus the check marks are backwards. Who wants backwards check marks? But all I have to do is I take the sticky note off that side and I stick it onto the other side. Now suddenly I have the start of momentum. Okay? And at the end of the day, I've got all these things done. That's the day I got my 3 most important things all done. Okay? And if I want, I can put these all on my wall, on my calendar, or in my book, my notebook, or whatever. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes I get to the end of the day and I'm like, I didn't do anything today. I didn't get anything done. This is the lie. This says, no, you did do something. And the next day, you start over. Okay? So, a BookCharm, 3 ways. Way number 1, the marginaliator. Okay? Something you can just use to just write notes on. Number 2, altered paperclip. If you can think of a better name for that, please let me know. We will come up with one eventually. And number 3, the tasket. Or the tasket holder, if you want to put it that way. Yep. So there are some ways that you can use your BookCharms and make them yours. There's lots of other ways to use it, variations on these things. I'm actually going to make some variations on this particular one that I think is going to be fun, that I'll show later on. But in terms of the Papermancy basic set, that's how you do the BookCharms. Thanks.